What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I just wanted to go into a few. Well, first off the games for tonight, the narratives, and then who I have picked for tomorrow. And the narratives, honestly, I'm a little annoyed at myself because I feel like I had the narratives. I just picked the wrong trap game. I figured the Kings with the 3 points seemed way more like a trap than the Thunder, who had just won. But honestly, winning twice in a row is a very nice trap. I'm sure a lot of people picked, especially because they were favorites, the Clippers. Like, there's no way they're going to lose to the Thunder twice in a row. But what did we see? And this is the narrative that I was thinking was going to happen. And forget the teams. We saw Luka win, Steph win, and Ja win, right? And again, this is basically a preview of what we're going to be seeing in the playoffs. So I don't think it's a coincidence on NBA TV they had Luka have a nice heroic win, and then right after that you have the Warriors, who Luka just played in the playoffs. They have a nice win, and then Ja obviously has a good the Grizzlies too. So they're pushing these, the MVPs here, and they're pushing these top players because it's like wrestling. They want to push stars, and if you watched Luka, he's really and this is what I was talking about with last game and this game. Again, it looks like he did the same, right? The same Lucas, same effort. But he did subtle things differently this game. Last game, again, he took 13 threes, which shaved so many points off the board. And in this game, I think he took like 6 or 7. And they were just more efficient. So that is just one aspect of how he's really changing games. His defense was better. He was communicating. So you could just tell he was playing to win. But now you have the West looking nice and strong. Now you got Luka, you got the Warriors, you got Ja looking strong. Like I said, I just did think the 3 points for the Kings seemed so generous. That was a trap. But if you know anything about basketball, it is all narratives. And speaking of narratives, I have a couple of my picks, and they are based off narratives. So the first one I want to get out of the way is the Magic, because that is the one that I like the most. I took the Magic with the 3 points, and I have them as my second leg. So we have only a couple sequences that are in leg 2. One of them is the Magic, and you can see I have them as the second leg, and that's going to be for the Clippers Golden State parlay loss. Okay, so for that loss, we're going with the Magic, and for the Tampa Bay Bucks loss, we're going to go with the Lakers. And while I'm on that, I'll go into that. I thought there was going to be a couple different possibilities with the Bucks, but it does seem like they just did the old standard Brady putting over the new up-and-comer, which is fine. I get the narrative. Now, this is something interesting I noticed with the numerology, and I don't really go into numerology that much, but when I see something interesting that I already noticed, I will. So what I found really interesting is the interesting deaths, or the mysterious deaths of these Ravens before the season. We had Jalen Ferguson, number 45, and we had Tony Saragusa, number 55. So when they died, I said at the time, I believed it was some kind of sacrifice where the Ravens are probably going to win the Super Bowl because they died. And Saragusa was 55 years old. I didn't mean number 55. He was 55 years old when he died. So if the Ravens lose the next 2 games, they'll be 5-5. And if the Bucks win the next game, they'll be 4-5, matching up with the jersey number and the age of the 2 gentlemen who died. And it's Tom Brady's age. I always found like there's an interesting connection between the Ravens and Brady, because the Ravens won in 2000, and then the Patriots won with Brady, and then the Bucks won, and then Brady won again. And then you got Brady on the Bucks now. So I feel like there's sister teams almost in the NFL. But yeah, the 55 and the 45 I found interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward with those 2 teams. But yeah, so that's essentially what happened there. I did think that the Bucks were going to break the metric, but they did wind up putting over the younger quarterback now. And that's like Mahomes, Lamar is the face. He's the future. So it makes sense It's the right narrative. I just thought Bucks at home get the fan base going, and they would break the metric of being winless against the spread at home. But yeah, it makes sense, I guess, that of those two teams that they'd want the Ravens to look stronger, especially since I think they're going to push the Bucks later in the season. But going on to the NBA picks, the reason I like the Magic is I think at home, Banchero is going to get off 0-5 here. I looked at their schedule. It's not pretty. They got Dallas, Oklahoma City. They could win that one. But then you got Golden State. You could win Sacramento. But you could see like every other game's like a really rough game. So if there's a game they're going to get off the streak, I feel like it's got to be against Charlotte. Now, I did take them with the points. And I also took him because they want Banchero to sell. They're trying to put this guy over big time. So he needs to have, in my opinion, the best game he's had all year, probably tonight. Well, yeah, technically tonight. Get their first win, and they can say this guy is the next star. Because they're already comparing him to James and saying he's a 25-5 guy already and how great he is. So I think they're going to win. I'm going to have to speed run this a tiny bit only because I just did this video and it was about 40 minutes long and my phone didn't have the capacity, so I'm redoing it. So that's the only reason I'm talking quick. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything covered and my data is good enough. In this game, I went with the Sixers, and my first line of thought was, well, everyone's going to take the Sixers because the fact that the Raptors won the first one. People were thinking, all right, the Sixers have to win the second one. Same concept as the Clippers. But the difference here is the Sixers, again, the Sixers are going to make the playoffs. So if you look at Toronto's record going forward, it's pretty easy. They can lose this game. They got Atlanta, San Antonio, Dallas is tough. You got Chicago twice, Houston, Oklahoma City, Indy. Toronto has a pretty easy schedule. But if you look over at the schedule of Philly, it's a pretty tough schedule. Not a one where you can explain them if they start off 1-5 here, where it's going to be very tough for them to win a lot of these games and even be competitive come Christmas time, with Phoenix and Milwaukee and Atlanta twice, got Minnesota. So they're just not easy games. So I feel like the Sixers, it's important they win this game. In my opinion, losing, the only narrative that pushes is if they're literally, like I said, going to fire Doc this season. So that's the other one I like. And like I said, I'll do another video going more into all the games that I don't cover deeper. It's just I want to cover these, and I want to make sure my phone has the data for it. This one, I like the Knicks. Simply put, I like the 6.5. I might even buy it up to 7 once it lets me. But I like it because of two reasons. They have guys like Randall and Robinson who can maintain Giannis, and they can explain that away. I think they want to keep the Knicks competitive, so there's a chance they even win the game, but I think they keep it close. And I think Brunson versus Holiday is a good matchup for the Knicks. They have a bunch of young, fast guys. They can get Giannis, I feel like, out of his rhythm, kind of like when they get Luka out of his rhythm. It can easily explain this game being very close, and I think they'll use that to explain why they need Middleton. I also looked at the metrics on it, and I really like it as well. So I really like the Magic as a sequence 2. I like the Sixers as a sequence 1 as I do the Knicks. And again, the Knicks and the Magic are going to be to cover the spread. So as you can see, Magic cover the spread. Lakers is my next one. I have them +8. Knicks are going to be getting 7. And then, of course, the Sixer game is even money. So while I have it up, the reason I like the Lakers, I went into why I like the other teams, obviously. The reason I like the Lakers is because a lot of people are saying they're going to win the next 2 and be like 24 for Kobe. Possible, but I think it's a slap in the face to Kobe. So they're going to likely have the Wolves win, be 4-2, which is the opposite, 2-4. And if you notice, it's at 8 o'clock and the spread is 8. But I do think they cover the spread. I think Gobert does a good job containing Davis, and they're going to explain away why the Lakers couldn't beat the Wolves. But I do think that they get off that against the spread metric. Again, it's just one that does not hold over time. As bad as this team is, even last year, if you look at their against the spread record, they were right in the middle here. They were 42%, 35 and 47. So teams just don't start the season, or They don't just not win against the spread or not lose. So that's why another reason I have Milwaukee not covering and I have the Lakers covering because of that metric. So those are all the games that I looked at and I really like. There's one more, and it's not one I love, but I do like it, and I'll go more into it. And I'm going to do more. It's just, like I said, my phone's capacity is really shitty. I like the Pelicans to cover because they started this feud in the the playoffs, where Chris Paul was getting flustered by Alvarado and Herb Jones, and how Alvarado was really getting under his skin. They were really trying to push the Pelicans as a team that can hang with anyone. So I really believe that it makes sense that the Pelicans cover this 6-point spread. So those are the ones I like. To recap, as a leg 2, I like Banchero, the Magic +3. That's for our parlay loss. For the second leg of Tampa Bucks loss, I do like the Lakers with the 8. I do like the Sixers to win. That's going to be an even odds game. I do like the Knicks to cover the 7 points. And I do like right now the Pelicans. I might change that one, but I do like the Pelicans plus the 6. So I'm sorry this is rushed, but like I said, my phone can only handle about, seems like 10 minutes. I'm hoping this one goes through. And that's everything I got. The college games, I don't want to play them just to play them. What I will say quickly is I like the under on LA Tech because of the metrics. But it's not one I'm just going to play on Friday. But I will go into the Saturday games and all of that, and I'll go into the later NBA games. I just wanted to get these out so you guys have them. And I'll obviously go into football, but I just wanted to get these out for now and then get my data figured out. So take care and happy earnings.